Do we have free will and how does karma work? Hello everyone, I'm Rohit and we are going to discuss these two things, these two questions. We are going to try to find out if we have any solution to these. I'm Rohit and I'm the author of this particular book, Decoding Human Psyche. It is a book on human psyche, human mind, how the beliefs form and how they get incorporated in, and what are the biases and all that. A lot of psychology related stuff is there. So whatever I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you from this book. Um, Before we go into the two questions, we just have a quick recap. I would assume that you have seen some of the videos at least before you see this video. There's a video on the subconscious mind and the significance of the subconscious mind. So these two videos, I think that you should have a look before you indulge in this particular video. But anyhow, I'm just going to have a quick recap of what is the subconscious mind, because it is very important to understand these things, these concepts, before you can indulge into what is free will and why, how does karma work. We just discussed in the previous video what is a conscious mind and what is a subconscious mind. So if whatever you are experiencing at this point of time is the conscious mind, and there is another set of mind basically, so which is subconscious mind, which is also you are experiencing, or rather you are, which is basically controlling you by putting urges into your mind. So that is a subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is the one who is I or me or self. So this conscious mind is capable of controlling your body and also experiencing all the emotions and all the thoughts, and is basically able to analyze, and this is the mind which sees and tastes and smells. And then what is the subconscious mind? So the subconscious mind, we saw, is a reservoir of subconscious thoughts or tendencies. It's like a recorder. It's like a AI computer, or that is artificially intelligent computer, which is like an autopilot for you. And its basic aim is to have to record all the thoughts, all the beliefs, and make a subconscious map and utilize that map and keep putting urges into the subconscious mind. So it's also called as by many names like the heart, the will, and all that. So it is basically, you have to understand that the subconscious mind it's like completely different person. So it's like it's a mind over your mind. So it's a completely separate individual mind which is controlling you in some way. And Patanjali Yoga Sutras say that there are sanskars and there are vrittis, or urges. So sanskars are something very much related to beliefs. So they are basically whatever beliefs, and we discussed what beliefs are usually in a Hindu household. What are the beliefs in Muslim household? What are the beliefs? And all the, not only religious beliefs, but there are quite a few other beliefs, like humans. Like humans are, it's okay to cut trees, or it's okay to kill animals for food. People who are, it's okay to catch fish and eat and cook and eat, and all those are beliefs. So there are contrary beliefs. Some believe one particular thing, some believe the other, and these beliefs are these beliefs are called as sanskars. And Patanjali Yoga Sutras say that these sanskars enter into your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is getting programmed every time, and this particular programming is basically beliefs which are like concurrency. So it's like a safe. So you keep accumulating beliefs. So your beliefs keep getting stronger or weaker, or depending on what life incidences or events happen into your real life. So, and these beliefs can keep putting urges into your mind, and these urges, you have a choice whether to approve those urges or suppress those urges. So that's what is called as the urge action reinforcement cycle, or SVS cycle, or sanskar vritti sanskar cycle. So if you act on the urges, the urge becomes stronger. If you keep repeating the urges, the urge keeps becoming stronger. The belief becomes stronger. And if you repress the urges, it can cause anxiety, but it can still reduce the urge over a period of time. So that way, you have your conscious mind has a bit of control. So now we'll come to, so these are, if you want to have this discussion in a much more detail, then you have to see the previous videos, because today we are going to discuss these two very important questions. So do we have a free will, and how does karma work? Actually, just seeing superficially, these two seem to be completely different, and they are unrelated, it seems. But actually, they have a very deep connection. And I'll come to why it is. And it's also, it all depends on the beliefs, but people usually have firm opinions about this. So most of the people would say, it's obvious that we have free will. And there are two types of people, some people say, no, karma, there's nothing like karma. And there are some people, religious people, say, definitely there's some karma, there's some, there are a lot of definitions of karma or in the people's minds. So I won't go into that. But so there is a very deep connection between these two, actually. So if you have a free will, then you can choose whether to do one particular activity or not. So if you have free will, then definitely you will be liable for that. Yes. So you chose to do particular thing. And if you chose to do particular thing, and then you have consequences. So karma is basically, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that, you have choices and you will have consequences of that, or karma and phala. So you do a particular action, and if it's a good action, you'll get a good phala. And if you do a bad action, you will get bad phala. So karma and phala. Karma is basically action. So if you take action, you have consequences of that action. So that is what is the karma, which is given in Bhagavad Gita. So okay, so there is another way of saying it, actually. So some people believe that there is a personal God who is constantly watching you, and this particular God will if you do some sin, then this particular God gets angry, and then what he does is that he erases your destiny, and he changes it, and that way you will suffer because you have done sin. So this is another form of karma, which is not exactly what is described in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita says that you will have phala depending on karma. So how does it work, and is it really good or bad? Now the real answer is we don't know, basically. Okay, so whatever we are going to discuss today is just we are trying to analyze these two questions. So the real answer is really we don't know, and we can extrapolate whatever we have, whatever knowledge we have, into getting some answer rather than complete ignorance. But still, it's not that we are absolutely sure about what the answer is. But anyhow, so do we have free will? So we'll just first focus on the first question. What exactly is free will? So most of the people will say, no, it's very obvious that we have free will. So so why should someone even bother about asking whether a person has a free will or not? But there are still two thoughts or two schools of thoughts. So there are some people who believe that there is free will, and there are something who believe that everything is predetermined. So everything is um, a consequence of something else. So if it is a consequence of something else, and if that something else was not determined by your will, then how is it that your will is responsible? Like, I'll give an example. You will say that I have I have full control over my will. So I can take this pen and I can keep dropping it. I'll take it and keep dropping it. I'll keep dropping it. So it's completely my wish. If I want to, I can continue this activity for the whole day. So it's a pretty obvious thing that I have free will. But the proponents of the determinism will say that it's all choices. It's all basically one event leading to another event, leading to third event. Like because it was destined for me to pick up that pen and throw it down. Somebody had kept that pen over there. So if there was no pen available with me, then I would have chosen some another. So the fact that the pen was there here lying on table, I could give you that example. So in this particular manner, one particular event leads to another particular event. So it is not exactly so it's not that it was basically it's like I had a urge to lift that pen up because of something which is predetermined. So it was predetermined for me to have that urge to lift up the pen and throw it, lift up the pen and throw it. So it's like that. So that is what the proponents of the free will would say. The free will proponents against free will. So they say that everything is predetermined. So it was already predetermined that I would get that urge to lift that pen and I would throw it. And then again I will get that urge. So all this is predetermined. So there is no free will. So you have an illusion of free will, but actually you don't have a free will because the urges which are coming are already predetermined. Now this is a controversial thing actually, but a lot of experts do believe that everything is predetermined and that this is the reality rather than now. So what are the implications of the above knowledge? So we have gained some knowledge basically. So what is it? That there is this subconscious mind and this can put urges into our conscious mind. So and we can follow these urges. So what is the implication of all this knowledge? So another question which you should ask here is how does a thought enter into our conscious mind? So from where does this thought emerge? So this thought emerges from because the subconscious mind puts the thought into our conscious mind. So if a conscious mind gets a thought or urge, then this urge is put by the subconscious mind. So this pen, the fact that I saw the pen and the fact that this particular example was known to me because I had seen this particular example in some other YouTube video on free will. So this example was already known to me, my subconscious mind, and I had this pen, so I could do it. So it was known to the subconscious. It was available to the subconscious mind. So I did it. So it's that the subconscious mind is the one which is putting the urge into the conscious mind. So it's not, and it's not far from true actually. So this pen example is too general actually, but there are some specific examples which I can give, which suggest that that the subconscious mind puts urges into us. And so really speaking, what urges will come into our conscious thought or conscious mind, we have no control over it. And so if we have no control over it, then that's what. So what, who has control over it? So it's the subconscious mind who has control over it. So what, on what does this depend? So it depends on the subconscious mind programming. So ultimately, what is the question is, what does the subconscious mind programming depend on? Now you can imagine, I'll give some examples of this. The subconscious mind programming actually depends on multiple things, which are, some of them are in our hands and some of them are completely beyond our hand. One of the things on which the subconscious programming depends on is our own will. That is, if you have multiple urges, which urge you choose from, that urge gets reinforced. So you have a choice, and that's why uh, that's why but remember that subconscious mind programming also depends on your birth, and also it all depends on what are the life events that are happening around you. And so the typical example of that is what, imagine that you're a you are born in a Muslim household, Muslim family. Then your birth was completely, it was not under your control. So if your birth was not completely under your control, then whatever life events happened, like you saw your father going reading Quran, and you saw your father mm, um, praying 5 times a day, and so all these beliefs which your subconscious mind got, that these are the norm, are basically because of these life events which happened in your body, so in your life. So the subconscious mind will keep putting urges of doing all these activities into you. So you're the basically, if you go willingly to read Quran or to the mosque, even though you are going willingly, but your subconscious mind is putting that urge and you are approving it. So the subconscious mind has actually uh, the subconscious mind has acquired that urge uh, by mechanisms which are completely beyond your control. So in a way, it is not in your control, isn't it? So the subconscious mind is not in your control. That is probably the reason why, psychologists and the typical subject of psychology doesn't like the concept of subconscious mind, because it is not under your control. So subconscious mind, yes, it's in under my control. Subconscious mind, it's not under your control. So who is putting those thoughts into your brain or your conscious mind? You don't know. So then who uh, means that there is some conscious individual who is beyond us, might be in control. So there the God comes, and that is why where the science or scientific methodology, they are basically abhorrent of such a conscious being who is controlling us. So that is why subconscious mind is not a very good thing, which is often discussed in subject of psychology. So the subconscious mind programming depends on your life events. Like, let's say you are a small child and you are born in a family which is very wealthy, but the father keeps on going away and then he doesn't stay at home. So your absence of father. So this absence of father is an event which is beyond you. So whatever effects it has on your subconscious mind programming, which makes you a particular, your beliefs, some beliefs enter into your mind that I'm not important, or money is important, or all that. So This subconscious mind programming is happening because of the life events which happen. So the this subconscious mind programming leading to a particular set of impulses which your subconscious mind puts into your, and you approve of them, is actually dependent not on your choice, but on life events. So you can blame it on life events. So life events happened like that, and that's why I did like that. So this has very bad implications actually. So think about rape. Uh, a person might say that, my subconscious mind programming was the reason for my rape, for the reason why I raped that girl. So it was not my personal choice. So this is a very controversial thing. So what is the actual um, answer? The answer is no, we don't have a free will. Our subconscious urges are not under our control, but depend on subconscious mind programming, which depends on multiple things beyond our control. So that's what. So is this right actually? Is this right? So the real answer is that this is wrong actually. This is not right. The real answer is that we don't have free will, but we have a free won't. Means what? The subconscious urges what we get are beyond our control. So subconscious mind programming which happens is happening because of events which happen in our body, in our life. Uh, so this subconscious mind programming is beyond our control, and that if you get a bad subconscious mind programming because of your life and where you are and your events in life, that is your destiny basically. But whatever impulses are coming or urges are coming in your mind, they are not, you are not in control of them, but which urges to choose to act upon and which urges to suppress is completely within your control, which means that uh, we just come to the rape analogy. So a person who has raped a girl says that, the urge to rape her came because she was wearing a small skirt, and that aroused me, and I raped her. So it's her choice to wear small skirt which is responsible for my act, which is a very wrong thing actually. So he can also say that, it's the objectification of women which is shown on the Bollywood, which has made a bad subconscious mind programming in my mind. That is the reason why I got the urge and I raped her. So it is the movie director which has to be held responsible, or the society which has to be held responsible. So this is very odd, and you know that this is wrong basically. So why this is wrong is because whatever subconscious mind programming was there, still the free won't was still there with him. So whatever urges he is getting, he can always suppress those urges. So if you got the urge, doesn't mean that you have to approve the urge. So the ability to stop those urges or suppress those urges is there with everyone. Not that everyone follows it. So there are a lot of people who get a particular urge to, let's say, a person, a terrorist is there, and he is a radicalized Islamist, and he sees one particular person who is basically drawing a cartoon of prophet, or is basically under act of blasphemy. So his subconscious mind programming is basically radicalized. So all radical beliefs have entered, and why they have entered is because of other people who have taught him that. So his subconscious mind is badly programmed. So his beliefs are bad. So these will keep giving urges of this thing. So this particular urge which he gets to chop off his neck, because he is basically undergoing blasphemy. is basically he can get that urge, but it is in under his control. So he doesn't have a free will, but he has a free want, which means that he can actually suppress the urge. He can choose which urge to act upon and which urge to suppress. So if he has not suppressed that urge, then he is responsible. So if the rapist has not suppressed his urge, he has the ability to suppress that urge, but he has not suppressed it. So he is responsible. So in a way, the murderer is responsible. So he cannot blame on the subconscious mind or subconscious urges and what has led to this. So a person can say that, you know, I have I was very poor and I had circumstances because of which I got the urge um, to uh, I mean, the person is a thief and he has stolen some money. So he would say that I know, you know, the circumstances were there. So that's why I got the urge and I stole it. Whatever it is, but if you have committed a particular act, so it is which was basically because of some circumstances, because of which his subconscious mind put the urge to steal. But his conscious mind was still there, and he could have suppressed that urge, but he did not suppress it. So he has to take responsibility of it. It is so. So the answer to our question is very simple: that we don't have free will, but we have free want. So that's the answer, basically. So we don't have free will, but we have a free want, which means that we still have a free will. We still have a free will, but for the free will to function, we have to act in a particular manner, which is called as mindful. We have to be mindful of our urges. So which urges which we follow and which we urges we suppress, we have to be mindful of that. So if we are mindful of that, we have free will. But most of the people are not mindful of that. So most of the people will utilize the system one rather than system two. So if you have a system, utilize the system two, you are definitely having a free will. And if you utilize the system one, then you are basically not utilizing your free will, but you are basically your subconscious impulses you are falling prey of. So your subconscious mind is basically driving you. Okay, so it's the drive, it is the autopilot. So you are utilizing the services of the autopilot, which so you don't know where it will take you. So it might take you somewhere else, which is wrong. Now, how does karma work? Karma is basically so the definition of karma is differs with different people with different religions, and also in Hinduism or in Krishna, karma is basically karma and phala, that is choices have consequences. So whatever choices you make, those or whatever actions you take. So karma is not actually choices. Karma is what? Actions. So you are choosing to do one particular activity. So this activity might have some consequences in the future. So in Christianity, this particular thing of a personal God who is watching is there. But we are not talking about that. We are talking about this kind of a karma. So the real answer is we don't know for sure how it works, and people ask this question that maybe a innocent 2 or 3 year old kid, what has he or she done? So they have done nothing bad about it. No, nothing. They have not done anything wrong in their life. So why they can get leukemia or they can get some congenital anomalies and all? Why not? Why? What is the reason? So, so this they question this particular karma because they don't believe in reincarnation. So the people who do believe in Hinduism and karma. They believe in reincarnation, so they believe that they had past life karmas. But here we are basically discussing scientifically, so we cannot believe in past lives and all. But we have to. So the real answer is we don't know for sure how it does. Okay, but we are just trying to find out based on the above knowledge uh, whether we can find out some mechanism by which karma works. Now, there is something called as domino effect. Domino effect is what? There are multiple dominoes which are standing like that. One domino, two, three, four, five, six, like that. So one domino falls, the other falls, the third falls, the fourth falls. So it's like a chain reaction. One particular domino falling will lead to the second, which will lead to the third, which will lead to the fourth. Then this particular cycle keeps going on. So everything is basically interconnected. So one particular activity which you do can have multiple consequences. So it is our ignorance basically that we can't judge what consequences a particular thing may have. Like, let's say, if you chop off a tree, then you might say that we know what the consequences of chopping off a tree to build a road. So we know it that we will get some wood and we will have some land on which we can build the road. So these are the consequences. So we can also say that yes, because we build that road, some people will have conveyance, so they can utilize the road to go to places. So these are the consequences which we can see typically, but there are many consequences, and there are some consequences to humans, and there are some bad consequences to the ecosystems. So a functioning tree is basically supporting a lot of life forms and ecosystems and insects and bacteria and all that. So your one choice can have consequence on them. So their complete ecosystem is destroyed. So all those insects and all are gone basically. So the whole ecosystem collapses because of one act of ours. And this ecosystem collapse can have multiple consequences. There are so intricate details that we just can't even imagine what exactly consequences of. So the tree was constantly taking up carbon, giving oxygen, taking up carbon, giving oxygen. It was giving food to so many small bees, and these bees were giving. So there are so many cycles which were happening, and all those cycles completely come to a standstill because of this. And we have complete ignorance of all these things. So we just have no idea what could be the consequences. So you can imagine that the act of cutting the tree was the fall of the first domino. So second domino, third domino, like that. Not only one particular cycle will come. There are multiple ways. So every choice can have multiple consequences. So, as we said, we have got the land and we got wood. These are two consequences which are good for us. But there could be multiple. So what are consequences for the insects? What are consequences for birds? What are consequences for the bacteria? What are consequences for water? So like that, one event can lead to multiple falls of dominoes. So because they are all interconnected, so we just can't imagine like that. If you choose non-vegetarian food, let's say, so there are two people. One person chooses vegetarian food, another person chooses non-vegetarian food. Now, we might say that it's an inconsequential decision, that there is no thing, no domino effect whatsoever. But this is not real actually, because these two foods are completely different. So one particular food has a lot of fiber, and it has the other food has a lot of oxygen radicals concentrated in it. A lot of cells are there. So lot of nuclei are there, lots of DNA is there, lots of nitrogen is there, and basically protein rich. So it is basically high in nitrogen. So nitrogenous waste will be more, oxygen radicals will be more. So chronic inflammation will be more. And the bacteria which it will support in the gut is completely different for a vegetarian diet and a non-vegetarian diet. So non-vegetarian diet will support completely different types of bacteria. So if you have a predominantly non-vegetarian food for a very long time, then you will have completely different set of bacteria living in your gut, which will have completely different set of toxins, which can have so many effects. So in this manner, this domino effect of everything becoming interconnected will mean that every small choice which you make will have, it's like, it's called as um, it's called as butterfly effect actually, in physics. That a small the wings of the butterfly, when they are moving, that movement can basically lead to changes in the pressure around the air molecules. And this change in pressure, very small change in pressure, whether the butterfly chooses to move the wings or not move the wings, will have two completely different consequences, which will keep getting added and keep getting added. And about 100 200 miles away from the butterfly, the same small changes in the air pressure will cause a storm in 100 miles away. Like that is called as the butterfly effect. So every choice which you make will have consequence, which is because of this kind of a domino effect. So that is what is karma actually. So this is what, first example was chopped tree. So the second example is what? So slaughter of animals. So you have a, the typical example of this is what is called as I said, one of the examples of non-vegetarian food is bacterial flora in the gut, which can have multiple consequences. We don't know. So different flora may have different set of toxins, which may have, say, different set of chronic. So one more very typical example which of karma is what is viruses. Corona, which coronavirus which causes COVID. So if you have slaughterhouses which slaughter animals, then you will get exposed to viruses which are animal viruses, and these animal viruses can enter into our humans. This thing, if they get circulated, and they can cause pandemic. This is corona is not the first pandemic actually. There were a lot of other animal viruses which entered. Now the argument that plant viruses can also cause, plant also has viruses, that doesn't work actually, because plants are completely different species. So the viruses which infect plants cannot infect humans at all, because they're so different, dramatically different. So even if you consume a virus which has had affected a plant, nothing will happen, because it will not be able to affect you. It will come out from the other side. So that is how slaughtering of animals can lead to multiple consequences, one of which is what? Pandemics. So it's like karma basically for us. And the same thing is true for COVID and non-vegetarian diet also. So people who have a lot of non-vegetarian diet eat a lot of oxygen radicals. So this could lead to chronic inflammation, which within the body, chronic inflammation is leads to a lot of other comorbidities, medical comorbidities like diabetes and hypertension and all that, heart diseases and stroke and all. And all of these will add to the risk of COVID, which means that it's like people who had predominantly non-vegetarian diet are having a much more higher mortality due to COVID, rather than those who have much less. So then, in a way, what I mean to say is that karma, how it works is, by this domino effect. So one particular thing has one second consequence, then third consequence, the fourth. These particular cycles or consequences are so minute that we may not have any idea about it. It's called as our ignorance or tunnel vision. So we know only a small part. The other things which may happen, we have no idea about. So actually, there are hundreds and hundreds of examples which we can give like that. So each one of us has 24 hours a day, actually, and not 1 minute more, not 1 minute less. So everyone has the same amount of time. Every day you have 24 hours. You have to make full use of those 24 hours. What you do in this 20, what you choose, uh, what impulse comes to you, and what impulse you choose, and what impulse you suppress, and what action you take. So karma is what action. So impulses will keep coming, whether to act upon those impulses or not is what you have to choose from. And what you choose you will have consequences about that. Like you might have a lot of urges to waste your time on social media, or waste your time on video game, or waste your time watching Netflix. So if you keep doing that, then you will lose your time. But instead, the same time you can utilize for reading books or gaining more knowledge. So the same thing you are utilizing in a better manner, so that can lead to some other things, which can lead to some other things, which can lead to some other things, and then ultimately we will end up being much better reading books rather than watching Netflix. So like that, these are just examples which I'm giving. So that is why you have to choose what urges you are getting will depend on your past life events and all. And that is why what urges you are getting is completely beyond your control. But what is in your control is to choose which urges to act on. And if you suppress the wrong urges and you keep acting on the right urges, so then what is happening is that you will have consequences. Some of the consequences are deep into the future, so you don't get the consequences immediately. Slowly, like that, you will definitely have some consequences. Some consequences of your karma will be, or your actions will be bad. Some will be good. So if you choose good actions, then you may not get the immediate uh, happiness, rather short term stimulation of the reward center. You may not get that. So if you watch Netflix, or you watch YouTube, or you spend time on social media, you will get instant gratification. But that instant gratification is so small, and it just vanishes. But if you read books, you will get more knowledge. Knowledge will not give you instant gratification, but in a later date you will be less ignorant, and your choices will be much better, much more intelligent choices. So that way you will make better choices, and in the long run you might have a bigger car, or a bigger bungalow, or a much better job. So these things, karma is very powerful. And this particular, you don't need to have a separate God who is looking for you. So these psychological effects itself will, now the people ask, that there are people who are, not kind to animals. Like they will go for hunting, and they will hunt 5 foxes at a stretch, and they will bring their cut bodies, and they will display it. So, and they seem to, karma seems to, not work for them. They just keep doing that atrocity, and nothing will happen to them. So like Hitler is there, he kept on killing Jews and all, but for some time at least, he had fame, and he was a dictator of Germany, and so some people might say that, why is karma not immediately punishing him? So the answer is pretty simple actually. That karma will be slow, but it will work, because psychology is very complicated, so it's all interrelated. So these people who are having this particular belief that, I am good, and these rules are not important, so I can keep destroying them, and for my pleasure. So this particular belief that, I am great, will definitely have some effect, some bad choice in the future. Maybe they will act in a similar manner to their employees. That is, their employees will also, they will feel that their employees are also inferior. So they'll all in all, they will choose these particular bad beliefs which they have in their subconscious mind, will make them choose bad things in the future, and these bad things will have consequences. So if you have a if you choose to you know if you choose to focus only on money, and you keep going outside and you don't spend enough time with family, time with your family, they will have consequences. Like your children will have a different set of beliefs, so they will grow up into different set of ideologies. uh, if you keep giving them whatever they want, then they will start having self-love, and they will start having materialism. That is, they will have a belief like you have, that only money is important, and interpersonal relationships are not important. So they will also become like you, constantly thinking of money, and not giving enough time for family. So like that, karma is very powerful, and it does work, and we are not having enough knowledge to understand how it works, but it works. And this particular psychological basis of karma is also very strong. So uh, so you have to understand that, psychology can explain a lot of things. So now this particular psychology related karma is different, and this domino effect related karma is different, but they are both in a way explaining how karma works. And karma is it's true, and it happens, and it is very powerful, and you have to be aware of it. So anyhow, thank you for your attention, and I recommend that you watch other videos, and you subscribe to this channel as well, and you share, so that other people will also understand how karma is working. And thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.